Welcome back to another episode of Adoptions from the Heart TV. I'm your host, Amanda Aliberti. As we continue these conversations about race, we thought it'd be really important to also hear from the perspective of an interracial couple. Now let's turn to Kelly and Marty. Well, thank you, Kelly and Marty, for participating in today's call.
Sure, you're welcome. It's our pleasure.
We're happy to have you guys be here and that you're safe and well during these crazy times.
Yes. We are safe and we are well. Yep.
That's
hope the same for
hear.
you.
Yep.
Managing the new normal.
Yep. So as you probably know, AFTH TV has devoted the last several weeks to discussing race within adoption. So today we wanted to chat with you guys as adoptive parents through our agency and as an interracial couple, what your experience was like adopting. Okay. So when you guys first came to the agency as an interracial couple, had you discussed race and what racial background of a child you would be open to?
Yeah, we in fact did have that conversation. I think maybe it was just one conversation that we actually had. And after sitting down and speaking with one of the representatives from Adoptions from the Heart, and they kind of explained to us about, what the process was and how it would go along. And we kind of decided that if we really wanted to have a good opportunity to be placed with someone, that we should keep our options open and kind of take on the approach of, whatever race the adoptive child would be, we would be okay with that. So we were open to any race when we initially talked about it so that we could keep our opportunity open for the chance to have someone.
When you guys did connect and eventually get into a relationship, did you go through any moments within friends, family, the community of dating somebody outside of your own race?
No.
Sometimes we do. You don't.
It's something that's not really, I don't notice it or I'm not paying attention to it.
He's not really paying attention to it, I think.
A direct experience where someone has actually had some kind of words to say to us, right. I've never experienced that directly from anyone. I don't hear it as a direct conversation to me.
I did prior to, us being married, yes. And I just didn't always bring it up to him,
Clearly.
Why can't you, why don't you find, this isn't any of my friends, it was actually a friend's mother. My friend was black and her mother was like, well, why can't you stay with your own kind? And you're not my mom. I really, and my friend kind of stuck up for me, like, does it matter? So I've kind of dealt with it on that end because like I said, I worked in that diverse community. I was kind of like the minority there. So I kind of dealt with it a little bit once they found out some of the people who weren't necessarily friends, but maybe people that saw us, we kind of got some of those, we still do sometimes get those looks and things like that.
I guess the reasons I was asking some of those questions is do you feel like any of that, and maybe a lot of what you were saying, Kelly, because it sounds like you felt it maybe a little bit more, prepared you for being placed with a child that was outside of your own race? Because you guys were placed with a daughter who's African American, correct?
Yes, she's actually African American and Jamaican and Puerto Rican.
Oh, that's a great combination.
At least on the birth mother side, we don't know what her birth father was, but so it kind of did prepare me. Like I kind of joke with him about it. When I take Emery out by myself, I make sure that her hair is done to a T, that she looks well kept, because if I were to go out, I feel like I get the looks regardless, of this is a white lady who has this, this black child and her hair's a mess, or, she just looks a mess. I feel like I don't know whether it's me just personally, I felt judged sometimes and having to deal with that, kind of prejudice before, but if he were to go out with her and her hair looked a mess and she looked a mess, it would be fine, you know? So I kind of I hold myself to a different standard when I take her by myself. I just want to, you know, not that I don't want her to look nice, but sometimes, you know, I don't feel like putting barrettes in her hair, and I just want to you know, have her wear her braids or whatever. But I always make sure that she's, you know, I just am a little bit more sensitive to it, I think, too, you know, by personality. You know, I just kind of want to not give them anything to talk about. Or more than, you know, that they're going to say.
I appreciate you being honest about that, Kelly, because it's not always all sunshine and rainbows, right? And I think a lot of people can connect with that feeling that you're having. Your daughter is how old again?
4.
She's 4. Do you think she picks up at all about race and the fact that the two of you are different racial backgrounds?
We were just talking about that. I don't feel like she never mentions skin color, hair kind, you know, eye color. She did mention eye color once. I have blue and he has brown, and she has like a light brown color eye, and she doesn't really say.
Yeah, like, it's not something that she is pointing out at this point, or even recognizing to mention anything at this point. Make no mistake about it, we're not afraid to discuss these things with her. It's just that we can see what her maturity level is and her intellectual level is, and this stuff is just way beyond her comprehension right now. So it really would make no sense to really try to talk to her about this right now. But we know it's coming. We know it's coming.
We will prepare her, and you know, even talking to Marty and you know, him saying, you know, with the Central Park, the man in the Central Park with the dog park, and he's like, that could be me, you know, and that just really hit home. Like when he's by himself, that could have been him, you know, and that's scary. But we kind of just keep it, you know, amongst our family, and kind of how we can deal with things in the 3 of us, you know, right now, until she gets older. Right.
As soon as she starts to
notice
these things and ask questions, we'll immediately step up to plate and start to, you know, introduce that into her.
And even the Puerto Rican part, neither one of us are Puerto Rican, so but she really, you know, we try to expose her to that culture as well. You know, she likes to watch Dora. She loves to like the Spanish. Like she just loves anything to say Spanish letters and numbers. I mean, the words and numbers and things like that. So we're just like all about it. I get, you know, she has a ton of books. I'm a big children's book advocate, and they're all different kinds of races. The preschool that she goes to, it's very, very diverse. So, you know, there's really not a minority or a majority of it's very well diverse.
Well, I feel like you've had a lot of powerful things to say, and you've just been very honest about your story, and it seems like you guys are able to juggle everything in a really manageable way. You both seem really open-minded to having these discussions with your daughter at the appropriate time, and you're just kind of navigating life the best way you can, like we all are, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts on just some of these topics we've been discussing of race within adoption? I know that one of the things that some of our Black birth parents have talked about is just maybe wanting there to be more options for birth parents when they are choosing a family, right? So I think traditionally we do see a lot of white adoptive parents. We don't see as many Black adoptive parents. We also don't see as many interracial couples, which that brings a whole nother layer for birth parents to be able to choose from. Any kind of final thoughts on that discussion?
Yeah, I know for me personally, I can't speak for everyone or every Black male or Black couple, obviously, but for me personally, I know growing up and even in some of my younger years, when I would see advertisements for adoptions, one of the things I did not see were Black couples adopting. What I did see was a lot of celebrities adopting, and they were usually white celebrities, and it was always the story of they're adopting a child from Africa, or they got 2 Black kids from Africa, and then they would show the price tag attached to that. So it kind of seemed like it was something that really wasn't targeting me, or I didn't see me in those advertisements. It wasn't a reflection of me. So my opinion formed was it's a really expensive process, and it seems like, well, that's something that celebrities do. And it didn't necessarily relate to me. So I think that could be what the African American couples or individuals are seeing and thinking, that it doesn't have a direct relation to them. And that's how marketing works. You kind of target market on the audience that you want to receive the message. And unfortunately, people will see that and assume that it doesn't apply to them. So I think that could be a part of the reason.
So guys, when you were coming into the process, is open adoption something that you were aware of or knowledgeable about?
For me, yes.
Yes, yeah.
My father was adopted. Obviously, it was closed sort of 74 years ago. But I did my research, and once we decided about adoption, then we looked into adoptions from the heart, and that was when we really learned about like open adoption.
Yes.
And learned all of the, after the trainings and things that we went to, then that really kind of opened our eyes even more about the open adoption process.
And for you, Marty?
Yeah, and Kelly did a lot of the research, obviously, and she fed me the information, and that was one of the topics or information that she fed me, and I thought it was a different approach because I wasn't used to that style of adoption when she first started talking about it, and it kind of piqued my interest because you hear so many, I won't say horror stories, but you hear so many sad stories about closed adoption cases where children in later years are looking for their parents or trying to discover who they are, or even trying to find medical history and just all sorts of things. So when she told me about the open adoption process, I was like, that's a pretty cool approach. Let's dig into this and see exactly what it's all about. And obviously, in our opinion, we think it proves to be a good approach when it comes to the adoption process. So we don't feel it's going to leave out anything as our child starts to grow, and we're hoping not. The information is there for us to explain and tell and inform our daughter when she starts to get older, and hopefully there won't be any mysteries. That's one of our things that we are most pleased about. No mysteries here. Well, everyone will know exactly who we are, where we came from, and even medical histories and a lot of other things.
Well said, guys. Sorry, hold on one second.
Yep.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
It's a surprise today.
Okay. It's a curveball.
Yeah, my name is a curveball. My name is Rizzo, and I'm a birth father. So I placed my child up 23 years ago.
Okay.
And I'm also the producer, one of the producers and video editor of this Adoption from the Heart TV.
Okay.
So I'm here shooting something with my documentary, and it's a documentary of me placing my son. I wish 23 years ago I was sitting in that same room at the adoption agency somewhere in a small town. It wasn't Adoption from the Heart, but it's 23 years ago. I wish I was sitting there when I was 18 years old and you guys were across the table.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I was 18 and I was looking for an interracial couple. I couldn't find it. Well, they couldn't find it, the adoption company, nor could they find a lot of blacks. So that right there, I needed that. Like, that's what I wanted. My son was going to be mixed. So the birth mom was white.
Okay.
And so I said to myself, I'm saying, well, if I'm going to do this open adoption or semi-open, mine was a semi-open adoption. If I'm going to do this, I need to find a couple like you. And the agency said, there's not that many. I can't, there's not that many. Then I said, well, then I need a black couple. I mean, I was 18 and I was bold. I was straightforward with them. And I couldn't understand why she could not find, but she can find a lot of white couples.
Yeah.
So it really got to me. So my story, when you said a couple things in this, you don't want no one in the open adoption world to do it wrong. You want it done right.
Yes.
You want the kid to be a part of both sides. Well, my story, when I picked an interracial couple because my son was mixed, it backfired on me. The couple that I picked eventually never told them, and they lied to me for 13 years.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And my son thought that they were the real parents, the blood parents, the whole time, while she's writing me letters, and I'm writing letters for 13 years. And that's why we need people like you, real people. And we need more black. We need more black people, because I think my situation probably wouldn't have happened like that. Because I would have probably just went, like, once I knew they were kind of iffy, I would have went with a black couple. But the fact is, we need more blacks. So black couples, African Americans, you're out there, you know, we need you. We need you, because when I was 18 years old, I didn't have a choice. Only had one couple to pick, and I picked the wrong one. This is the tip of the night, the tip of the day, tip of the morning, whatever. Whenever you're watching this, but don't lie. You know, the lies that will affect the child and the birth parent and the adopted parent forever. Because in my situation, when they lied, he's 15 years old now when he knows that he's adopted. And now it's okay, my birth father really did want to be a part of my life for all these years. Here's all the pictures now. I see him. I'm 15, but this guy's a stranger.
Right.
And that hurts, you know. So if anyone watching, any adopted parents that are doing the open adoption, please don't lie and listen to this adopted couple right here. I mean, their words are really, really truthful and good and powerful. And so God bless you both. Like, I just had something.
Thank you. And good luck to you, man. And we know that's a tough decision at that age.
Yes.
So we commend you for making what you felt was the right choice at that time, because so many people don't think about what's in the best interest of the child. They only think about what's in the best interest of themselves. So I commend you on making that very, very tough decision.
Yeah, thank you.
You're certainly welcome, man. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so now they can take back over.
Okay, cool. Nice meeting you, Derek.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah.
He does that from time to time when someone really inspires him. So clearly you guys did a phenomenal job. But really, you guys had some really powerful things to say, and we appreciate you being open and honest about your story.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Kelly and Marty for sharing your story and your perspective about race and adoption. Thanks so much, guys, and tune in next week.